Welcome. Welcome back to my channel Conquer the Fear. In this video, we are going to discuss about the most commonly asked interview questions and the most confused interview questions when it comes to Java basics, right? So people tend to confuse or they don't know how what to answer when it comes to answering this particular interview question. So basically the scenario is, suppose you have two interfaces, okay? And both of them interfaces are declaring the same method with the same signature. Now how do you handle the implementation? So two interfaces are going to be implemented, and how do you handle that particular scenario? Okay, the first thing is that, and the second thing we'll also look into if the same methods are default method. Okay, so this is in the context of Java 8. So you must have come across this particular interview questions when it comes to Java 8. How do you resolve this particular conflicts with the same method signature already defined, but the methods are now default? Okay, so you must resolve this particular conflicts. Okay, so interviewer is asked this particular question to understand whether you are aware of this particular basics concept and you are clear about the Java 8 features. Okay, so we'll jump into the code. So what we'll do is that we'll look into this particular two scenarios in details. So by looking at the first scenario, now we already discussed. So this two interfaces with having the same abstract method. What will happen? I will try to create two interfaces and then I will add the abstract method over here. Now, according to the rule, if two interfaces are declared with the same abstract method, the class which is going to implement is just need to provide one implementation, so there will be no conflict arise. We will look into this, but just for your information I'm trying to give you an info. Okay, so here we'll create a class and interface. Okay, let's say I'm creating an employee. Okay, now log activity. Okay, now if you see here, this is an abstract method. Okay, same. Okay, now from this particular same method I'm going to copy this and create it. Okay, so now if you see this, both of this particular are having the same method name with the same signature. Okay, now I'm going to create an accountant class over here. Okay, now I'm going to implement these two interfaces. Now if you see here, right, what it is saying is the class accountant must either declare the abstract or must be implementing the abstract interface. So this is where the problem comes. So we have to first implement this particular interface, the override it. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll implement this. Okay, now here if you see, the error has gone. Now you can provide your own implementation over here. Okay, now I will write this as an accountant implementation. Okay, now in this what I will do, we call the main method. Now here if you see, there is no conflict arise, and when we try to run this particular program, you will see it is printing the accountant. So there is no confusion because here there is no conflict it is going to arise. So this is what the scenario one what we have looked into, and this rule as whatever we have discussed about, it is completely applicable and it will be satisfied. So there is no conflict arrival. I hope this particular scenario is clear to you and you are very clear about it. Okay, now the second scenario what we are trying to look into is, there will be two interfaces. Now these two interfaces will have the default methods. Now this is one of the new versions Java 8 introduced features. So the default methods are part of it. Now with coming to this particular default interface methods, right? By coming to this particular thing, when there was an introduction, now it will not able to understand whether this particular which particular default implementation it should take over. So there will be a conflict arise and it will not be able to understand which one we should be calling. Okay, now we'll look into the practical solution. But yeah, now what we have done here is that now what you have to do, this one will mark it as default. Now the moment we make this particular class default, it is expecting us to have the default implementation. Okay, now if you see, I will just print it as an employee. Okay, I will take this same thing. I will first mark this as an default. Okay, here also it is expecting us to have implementation. Okay, now here if you see, I will have this particular implementation done here. Now if you see, if I'm not, earlier it was like, when the cases was in this particular method, these were abstract, the case was different. Now if you see what it says there, see it says that it is an inherent unrelated default activity, law activity method for this type. So we have to implement this. Now what here actually, what will happen is that the accountant is confused now which particular implementation to be taken up, because now we have the implementation which is the default implementation, and not, these are not the abstract, right? We have the implementation over here. Now it is getting confused which one to call and how, right? So the problem is, when we try to have this particular implementation done over here, right, what will happen is that if you see here, there might be two to three possibility what we have to check here, right? Now what will happen, now under this, if you see, I've overridden the implementation, right? But if you see, what implementation I have to take care, I have to take for the auditable or the employee one, we need to decide, right? So in that case, what we'll do is that, now as we already discussed, there will be three possibilities. One is, we will be calling the exact specific one. Okay, and what we'll do, we'll take the super and then we'll call this particular thing. Okay, I'll just show you. Okay, now if you see here, this auditable, it is printing over here. Okay, now the second thing what you can do is, you can have this particular combination of two, right? You can call your own implementation for this particular thing. You can also call this particular implementation of, like we did for the auditable, right? Similar way we can do it. Okay, now I'll just comment it for a minute. Now you'll be able to have this particular implementation. So this will be the combination of these two. Now this is one, the specific one only we have to implement. Right now if you see, these both activities are there. Now there could be other possibility is that you can have your own implementation done. So what you can do is, here is that the third possibility is that you can have your own custom implementation done here. Okay, so here what you can do, you can write your own implementation logic over here. Now if you run this, see, now you will be able to have your own custom logic. I hope this video makes your concepts clear. The people who are attending interviews, please share this video with those people, because in this video I've tried to explain when the conflicts arise and when it comes to the abstract methods implementation with the diamond problem, right? How to solve that particular thing, and what is the when after the prior or after the post implement introduction of Java 8, how do you solve this particular conflict problem, right? Please share this video with the needy people. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. Thank you for watching.